Hi, everybody. My name is Savannah, and I am part of the customer success team here at Sendible. Welcome to this week's edition of our deep dive webinars. Today's edition is going to be about Sendible's dashboard, and so we're going to treat this as a training session from the CS team to walk you through the main features of your Sendible account. Now, if you've been here with us before, you know that we like to start things off with an icebreaker. So, and you can leave your answer to the icebreaker in the chat box. And just know you also have the questions tab just to the left of that chat box. Now, the questions tab, normally I say is reserved for questions only relating to this specific area. However, since we're covering the whole dashboard, you guys can add any questions that you'd like. However, I do leave it up to my colleague Julie to make sure that she can answer the ones that she can address. So feel free to ask us anything within reason. All right, so the icebreaker for today is going to be, what is the theme song of your work week this week? Now, mine so far, we'll see how it goes, but I'm thinking Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire. That's kind of been going through my head. So tell me, you guys, what is this week's theme song for your work week? So, and just gut reaction, you can drop those answers in the chat there. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in just a second and dive in. Looks like we have a few people about to add their answers. You can see Julie said hello in the chat box. Diana says, Five-Finger Death Punch. Oh no. Jeff, I'm still standing. We will rock you. Julie, The Riders of Rohan. Yes, absolutely fantastic. Easy on me. Nice. Well, I keep these rolling in. They are awesome. And tell me just a little bit about you guys. Now, I am going to share my screen so that you guys can check this out. All right.
Oh, it looks like we've lost Savannah. Is everybody else seeing me and not Savannah? Oh dear. There she comes.
I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. So sorry. All right, let's jump into my dashboard now. All right, share my screen. Here we go. Hopefully this will work out for you guys. Awesome. Okay, so I wanted to get started here in the profiles area because we know that the baseline of getting posts scheduled out is adding profiles. So I'm actually going to go in the add profiles section. You can go from here, or you can also toggle along the left sidebar, and I'm going to add a Facebook profile. So I'm going to go ahead and click setup. So I'm going to set up my Facebook page, and you're going to have this pop up connecting out my Facebook pages. Now I have previously connected them, so this should be able to pull these in. I'm going to add my Books and Brew account. I get to decide about link previews, geo-targeting, whether or not that's an option that I'm working through, post as full-size images, and how I would like to receive new alerts. Now, this is obviously up to you, but when receiving new alerts, I love to leave it as priority inbox only. That way it doesn't clog up my email inbox, but still allows me to address those notifications. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Save Settings. And it's going to let me know that that Facebook profile has been saved to my account. Now I'm going to head over here And you'll note that we actually have two of them. Now, that was because I duplicated the account. And so I'm actually going to delete this one because that is the one that I just added. So, all right. So now that we've showed you how to add profiles, we can begin composing messages. The compose box is here in the top right-hand corner, right beneath your name. And you can compose a message with the to send to the profiles that you've already added. So you'll see that I've added these profiles and we can click through here. So I'm going to go ahead and add my Facebook profile, my Instagram profile, LinkedIn, and Twitter in order to create a message that would be customized for each. So here I'm going to create some original content and I have the chance to customize it for each of these. Now, even before I do have all of the character counters here in the corner, making sure that I'm keeping in line with all the social networks requirements, like Instagram having a 30 hashtag limit. So if I was to include a hashtag, right, that counter goes down to making sure that I'm on the same page with the social site. I can also choose to attach images here, but the image that I attach will be pulled across to all of the different social platforms. When attaching an image, you can pull it from a local file, a URL. The media library includes all images previously posted. Cloud includes Dropbox and Google Drive. One hint here is that these options do require that the image itself have anyone with this link. If this is privately shared between you and another user, say on Google Drive, you're actually going to have issues because Google is going to add some additional script to that image. So just keep that in mind. You want to make sure everything is accessible by everyone. Here you have the Canva integration where you can design an image. Now, just know you don't have to actually have a Canva Pro account in order to access this. You can sign up for a Canva free account and enjoy all of the features of designing an image and pulling that valuable content in. You have the search functionality and YouTube. So here are a bunch of different ways to collect and store media. Here in the media library, I'm going to attach this image here and pull that in. Next, I'm going to move over into the Facebook tab to customize for Facebook. Now, Facebook has the ability to tag a company page like so. I can come over here and tag the Sendible company page. Now, I'm not going to be able to tag Julie, but I am able to tag Sendible's company page. You can also decide that maybe the hashtag is not really the kind of branded that you want on Facebook, so you can go ahead and remove that to ensure that this content is exactly the type of content your Facebook audience is interested in. Next, we can go into the Instagram tab. The Instagram tab lets me know that this image has an incorrect image ratio. This is super helpful because I can actually make these edits directly with this image, either by clicking on Edit Image here in the error message itself, or I can go ahead and click the pencil icon to go into our in-house image editor. Now, the best part about the image editor is that when I'm in the Instagram tab and I click on the image editor, it recommends the Instagram specific formatting. So the Instagram square we know is popular. We can go ahead and decide where we want that and save it so that we know that this image is being pushed ideally in the format that Instagram prefers. You also have the ability to add some hashtags here in the Instagram first comment. This will be published simultaneously with your Instagram post and allow you to add and keep your copy clean, maybe with a few relevant hashtags. But if you have a few hashtags, like your branding hashtags that you want to help make your post searchable, you can plug them into the first comment and that's still going to work for you. Just remember, both in the body of the text and in the first comment, you're still going to want to adhere to those social guidelines of 30 or less. Next, we can move into the LinkedIn tab, and it lets us know with this yellow flag that we have a better way of doing this, right? LinkedIn prefers images with a landscape orientation. So what we're going to do is we're going to head into the image editor, and again, since we're in that LinkedIn tab, we had the ability to go ahead and select the ideal LinkedIn formatting, which is just trimmed up a little bit, but still ensuring that this image looks its best on each of those social sites. LinkedIn also allows for our tagging. So, type in LinkedIn. So I can tag Sendible. Now, I missed it because it's still new, but Instagram also, new feature alert, guys. Instagram also allows you to tag company or business accounts here. So just know, new feature alert, super exciting. So you can actually tag pages across each of these. Now, obviously, LinkedIn is going to have its own specific content because that audience is really different than your Instagram audience. So keep in mind that you have the ability to customize it here in the compose box while still allowing that original content to go across to everybody. Saves you a ton of time. Finally, let's look at Twitter. Twitter has the smallest or the lowest character count. So you do want to make sure that you're keeping your messages going live to Twitter trimmed and kind of optimized for that social site. They are obviously really interested in pithy statements. So I'm going to leave this as is, but you can, of course, search for additional hashtags if you're interested in pulling up hashtags that are specifically pulled in from Twitter. Now, once we've created a message that we're happy with across all of those different social sites and we've customized it from that original piece that we started with, I can actually come in here and make some decisions about how I want this to go live. I can send this now, which would immediately push this live to those social sites. I can send this message for approval to maybe my colleague Julie, right? So I can send it to Julie and add a note like, hey, please check this out before publishing, or I can choose to schedule it. So if you click on the calendar icon here, you can schedule it for next week, and you can decide the best time frame that you want this being pushed live. Now, you can choose, I don't know, maybe you guys are super early morning girls and guys. I am not. So instead of like a 6 a.m., I'm going to go a little bit later, maybe 8:30, and get that scheduled out. Now, I also have the ability to save these as drafts or to send these to pre-stored libraries that I've created in my content area. So just know that you have these options to save these valuable pieces of content that you've already created. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit schedule because I'm ready to plug these into my calendar. You're going to notice that this comes up. It lets you know that since there are multiple variations, a separate message will be created when the compose box is closed. So we're happy with that. Schedule and close. Now, if we head to the calendar, you'll notice that it looks like this. This is each of those pieces of content plugged in individually, right? If the post that you compose in the compose box is sent and it's the exact same content going live to Facebook and LinkedIn, and you only customize potentially for Instagram and Twitter, well, then these two would actually be one single post. But since we've made edits for each of them, the calendar lets you know that these are unique and that they are going live to that social site with that unique message. You can also, so this is the calendar. Now, let's say I love all of this content and I notice that I have content spread out, but I don't love how close this Instagram post is to either of each of these options. So instead, I'm actually going to drag this and put this on a different day. This is easy to do here in the calendar where you can just drag and drop. It will keep that time slot that I picked, but it will be able to be moved to another day so that my spread looks a little bit better. Next, I'm going to show you a few different areas in this publish section. In the publish section, you have your calendar, you have your scheduled posts, you have your queues, which is another type of scheduling option. It looks a little bit different though, so I can explain that. We have sent posts. We also have undelivered messages, drafts, and tasks. Now, in the scheduled section, you're going to see all of the upcoming content that you have scheduled out, and you'll see that you have it. You can see that you have the hashtags. You can see this image. You can also click on it to see that full-size image. just one a plug here. This post is from our incredible social media calendar. So I'm sure we can drop that in the chat here in a minute. But social media calendar is amazing. I love the content there. So you have this. Now, we can also come in the scheduled section and choose to filter by only a single profile, or maybe you want to schedule or you want to check for a single brand, and you can choose the content, the content going live, and you can actually export this data to a CSV or to an HTML so that you can send that to somebody maybe outside the platform who would like to check out the upcoming messages for their social profiles. It's a great way to loop somebody in while not requiring that they necessarily have to join the dashboard. Next, we have queues. Now, I love queues. So I think this is an incredible way to send out evergreen content at a preset time and day. Now, when creating a new queue, you will name it. So we'll go with queue number 1. And then we get to decide how often the messages will go out from the queue. So for instance, if you wanted to send store hours maybe once a week, then you could add a time slot, maybe at lunchtime, once a week on Monday. You can also come on Wednesday, and you can add a few time slots if that would work better for you. So I'm coming through here, and we'll just add a few to Wednesday. So now I have 1 time slot on Monday and 2 set for Wednesday because I want those posts going live. Now, when I come into the settings area, you also have the ability to turn recycle messages on or off. Now, I recommend that if you're going to turn recycle messages on, that you have at least 10 pieces of content in the queue so that your audience is getting fresh content, right? So you get to decide how often you add pieces of content to this queue, but it really sends things out on day specific rather than having it be date specific. So for a motivational Monday queue, right, you'll see I have one of those in here. I have posts going out any Monday, right? However, if I want something to go out on Christmas Day, then that's really an option that we want to make sure we schedule because it's got a specific date and time that I want that post to go out. Queues are fantastic for evergreen content that is always going to be relevant to your audience. So you can see my Motivational Monday posts in here. I have a Thursday webinar queue. I can edit this and you can see when I have posts going out. So I have 2 time slots on Thursday. Again, just making sure that I have the type of content. Now you can add content in 2 different ways. You can bulk upload and queued to add messages to this queue. You can also choose to compose a message, and instead of selecting the schedule option, you can actually select this line item and send it to one of the queues you've previously created. So for instance, if I wanted to send a happy Monday, then I can send that to my Motivational Monday. You'll notice I don't have to select a time or a day because I know my Motivational Monday queue only has Monday slots. So I can plug that in, come over here, and that gets dropped at the last time slot available. So the next one, and so that means that I have posts scheduled to go out for Mondays until Monday, September 26th. It's super fun. Next, we have the sent area. This allows you to see all of the posts that have been previously sent, and you can check those out. This can be another helpful way to share maybe with clients and say, okay, this is what we saw or what we sent out in the month of July, and you can see all the content that we pushed live. Next, I wanted to show you guys the undelivered section. Now, we understand that we don't want posts to go undelivered, but it's super important to know if they do. And if they do, we want to help you solve that problem. So you'll see here, I have an Instagram profile, and they've mentioned the error messages that I did not provide any media. Instagram requires that I publish with an image or a video. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select this repost option, And all I have to do to make sure this goes live is actually attach a piece of media that I want to get out there. So we'll click this. You'll see that that error message goes away. And now I can go ahead and push that live. Now, since I've resolved this, I'm just going to check my sent view to make sure that that gets sent here. Let's see. Oh, reset that filter, and you'll see that post went live to my Instagram profile. So once I've double checked that that has gone live, I can go ahead, select this and delete it because that message is no longer something that I need to be worried about. Now, I'm going to jump into the activity section and show off the two separate areas. So we have the priority inbox, which brings in actionable engagement like comments or direct messages from Facebook, for instance. However, the social feeds themselves actually break it out so that you can see the individual profiles and you can see the content that you're receiving. It's not necessarily always actionable, right? Likes don't require an action on your part. So you can still see those in here, but you don't necessarily have to respond. That's up to you, right? One thing to note that looks a little bit different when you have the ability to respond to a comment here in the social feeds area by liking, deleting, or replying. However, in the priority inbox, you're actually, when you add a comment, you're actually going to be responding to a comment by dropping one at the end of the thread, which is a pretty good distinction. All right, so those are some of the differences between the priority inbox and the social feeds. You also have the ability to add a keyword monitor. So I'll show you what that looks like. You can set up a new alert, pull that in here, and you can add the description that you're interested in. I've seen this used for things like a competitor analysis or for even just monitoring your own brand. And these are especially focused on the microblog space. So that's places like Twitter and Tumblr and Reddit. So the microblog space is where this keyword alerts are really being pulled from. If you'd like to extend that reach a little bit, you can add a Google Alert feed that you've previously created. Next, I want to dive into the content section. Now, the content section of Sendible is my favorite area, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time here. First, we have the suggestions area. This is a great way to outsource content while still finding relevant pieces of information for your audience. Now, first, you can enter a topic or you can select one of these pre-stored topics. So I can look up anything from something like money, right? A pretty generic topic. And you'll see that there are loads of articles available to pull from. Now, this may not be what I'm looking for, right? This is a broad topic. I'm really looking for housing. So I can actually go to a pre-saved topic like housing or real estate. And while I can save this topic, so you'll see I add that star here and it plugs it into my topics, or I can come to one of my pre-stored topics that's a little bit more relevant, has a little bit lower, but still 5,000 articles available around real estate. And you can come in here and find some relevant piece of content to share. Now, one of the things that I love to point out is that this down here is some really valuable information, right? You have that this has been shared 5 times on Twitter. It was published just 16 hours ago, and that and who wrote the article or who published it. So that's Calgary Herald. Now, you can select the title, and that's actually going to pull you into the article itself so you can read it. Make sure that it is exactly what you're looking for and what your audience is going to appreciate. And then you can come in here, and if it is what you're looking for, then all you have to do is click this share button. Now, I love this because it's so easy. All you have to do is plug in the profile that you'd like to send it to. Maybe this is the kind of article you want to send to your LinkedIn audience, and then click send. It already generates the description here. We have the link, and we also have that link preview that is clickable. and I can go ahead and click Send Now. Super easy way to outsource valuable content for your audience. Now, along those same lines, I can actually come into the RSS feed area, and this is a way to pull blog content. Now, I have a few of them saved here, but on the right-hand side is where you're going to be able to add new publications and blogs. And you're able to search, again, by topic, or even by looking up a specific URL of a blog that you'd like to follow. And you can add feed here. Now, I already have Sendible Insights stored, so I don't need to add it again, but that's how you do it. So I can come over here to Sendible Insights, a blog that I check regularly. I definitely recommend that you do as well, because there's a ton of valuable content. And especially if you're interested in sharing content about social media, about the industry, you can come in here. Of course, you can click on this and see a preview of what that article is going to be about. You can also click on the world icon to view the source and read the entire blog post, again, to double check that this is the kind of content that you want to share with your audience. And then all you have to do is hit that share button, and that gets pulled into the compose box, looking attractive and providing that incredible value. So definitely utilize those two areas as ways to outsource and continue to provide value. Finally, I wanted to show you the My Content area. Now, the My Content area can be built out any way that you like, but I'm just going to show you a few of my libraries and the ways that I utilize them. When creating a new library, all you have to do is click New Library and name it. Now, I'm just going to say, right, webinars, and I get to decide I get to make some decisions about my team. So do I want anyone on my team to have access to this library? Now, a consumer is someone who can take the content and share the content. A contributor can add or edit the content pieces in this library. So if I want everyone on my team to have access to everything inside, but I don't want anyone having access to editing, that's fine. I can leave the contributors blank and create that library. Now you'll see I already have some pre-stored libraries. So first I have a brand approved logos library, and I can edit this, and you can see that I have Anne as a consumer and contributor. Now just know you don't have to have her as a consumer. Once she's a contributor, she does have access to sharing that content out. Go ahead and click save. So these are logos that I've stored for my social, and now she has access to editing and sharing them because she's a consumer, or even deleting them. Next, I have, and this is one that I just absolutely love, I love the option to have pre-stored hashtag libraries. This is a great way for you to share hashtags and to keep that branding consistent. So for instance, you can go ahead and say, I want to send out some brand hashtags, and I can click the share button there, and you decide how you want to share it. We recommend no, share as plain text, and it pulls those hashtags into your compose box. Now, I do want to show you my favorite piece, and this is kind of pulling the whole content area together. And that's actually by starting in the compose box. So we're in the compose box. We are adding our profiles that we want to publish to, and maybe I'm going to look for a post for Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, I get to come in here and create some value, and I'm now looking to add a blog post and some hashtags. Instead of having to copy and paste and make sure that they fit in the brand guidelines, all I have to do is actually select this book icon, which takes me to the content area of your dashboard. So first, I'm going to select the best. So I'm going to select this healthcare and social media. Such a great article, highly recommend. So I'm going to go ahead and click share, and it plugs that incredible article here into my compose box. Next, I'm going to click on the book icon again, and instead I'm going to head to the content tab, allowing me to filter by the appropriate library and I can add my branded hashtags. I can also decide to, so if I do that, plug those in, and I can come again back to this book icon, back to the content area, and I can add my hashtags that are specific to my webinar, allowing me to make sure that the most valuable pieces are consistent across my brand and have them plugged in here. So if I'm happy with this, I can go ahead and choose how I want to schedule it, select the correct day and time, and click schedule. So just a few ways to utilize this incredible area of the dashboard. Now, before I head over to questions, and I know we have a lot, so I know we are going to get to that in just a moment, but I also wanted to show you our one-click reports. The reports area is right here, and you can select this button, and you have options like this. Here are your quick reports. They are a single click report where you select a profile and you can generate a report. Since I only have the one Twitter account, this is the one I'm going to go with, right? And I can pull all this data in. Now, just want to mention one of the best features, or well, it's one of my favorite features, because sometimes the language of social reports can be super disorienting for someone who's maybe new to the field, especially if you're trying to share these metrics with someone who's maybe less familiar than you. You can select this report guide, which opens up a PDF that gives you instruction and helps define what those metrics are actually reporting on. What's the difference between exposure, engagements, reach? These are all super helpful to be able to define and to be able to explain when someone asks you. I don't know, sometimes having an explanation already at the ready when somebody says, so why should I care about my audience growth? I mean, most people know that, but this can just be super helpful. So definitely take advantage of that report guide. Now, if you're on one of our higher plans, you also have the ability to email this report and save this report in the custom report builder. But everybody has access to clicking on these reports and checking out how their social's doing. You can move along and see all of the different profiles. So I'll show you what it looks like when something is not selected. So I'm just going to close that. And you'll have, if you have tons of Instagram accounts, you'll have all of them stored here. And all you have to do is select the profile you'd like to generate the report for, click generate, and it pulls it up. Now, one thing you also want to remember is that you also want to check that filter date. This filter date is a bi-weekly 14-day report, which can be super valuable. But if you tend to report on a monthly basis, or maybe you're on a weekly basis, that's really the metrics that you want to pull, just make sure that you filter the date appropriately and get this pulled up, and you can check everything out here. Now, I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen because it looks like we have a ton of questions in here. So I'm going to invite Julie as a part of our support team to come in and help us answer some of these questions. It looks like she's got answered a few of them, but here we go. Hey, Julie.
Yeah, the questions have been fast and furious.
Not surprising.
I'm not either. I think I've answered most of them except Christina's last one about the saving Facebook at mentions in the content library.
Oh.
Kind of is the answer, because I was typing up as I turned on my camera. It will actually default to Twitter mentions there, and not Facebook ones. But most of the time, when you publish, it will kind of publish as plain text, but when it actually shows up on the social feed of the whichever network, a lot of times it gets converted into a proper mention. If you have the correct handle and it doesn't have spaces in it or anything like that. So that might be something you want to try and test out and see how it works for you, because it is possible.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to read through them and just kind of share some of those um, just so that we have them for the recording here. So Jeff says, I want to be able to use the hashtag feature rather than reinvent the wheel every time I create the post. Is there a link to review this feature? So the content library, like Julie said, it's not specific to hashtags. You can actually use it for all kinds of different things, but she went ahead and dropped that article there so you can check that out. The webinar will be recorded and sent out to you guys. Next, we have Christina asking, in the undelivered section, I've received errors saying that we're out of memory and the image is too large. Is there a max file size for Sendible, or is that the social feed? Now, Julie, I would love for you to review this answer so that you can help them understand that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a complicated answer, to be perfectly honest. Each social platform has its own guidelines. So what is allowed on one platform may not be allowed on another. And when you talk about size, there's actually two things that can apply to. It can apply to the file size, as in megabytes, or it can apply to the size as in dimensions, measured usually in pixels. And depending on the social network, it may have one or both limitations, restrictions based on those types of sizes. So yes, you do. There's a reason that we have those different tabs in the Smart Compose box, is because a lot of people will actually upload a different file, image file for each network. Now, that being said, my favorite trick in Sendible is to actually go into the Compose box and maybe switch to an Instagram tab, let's say, and edit the image within Sendible. And you will have options there for save as an Instagram square or an Instagram landscape or Instagram portrait. And we will resize that based on those image guidelines to make sure that it will publish successfully. So you could click on each tab and create your different versions of your image right within Sendible. So yeah, my favorite thing to do. You basically almost have to just open it up and then close it again. And it's really quick and easy to do.
It's so easy. Really, really helpful. Jeff asked, can we use the queue to vary messages? And the answer is yes, as Julie already mentioned. Jeff also asks, say we're announcing an event and we need people to register. Can we post it multiple times without variation? So this is going to be a community guidelines question, right? That's going to be different for each social site. And as Julie said, Twitter is a hard no. They don't allow the same post to go live multiple times. So Facebook is increasing their strictness. So you do want to make sure that you are keeping you're keeping your posts aligned with what those social sites are really looking for their audience. So definitely, like she recommended, you do have a few different options like register now. Registration is open. Get your registration in. Those changes can really make a big difference. We do recommend variation though.
I will find and drop a link to the Facebook community guidelines in there too, because speaking of events specifically, that is a violation of some of their community guidelines. I believe Facebook's in business, if you haven't noticed. And what they really want you to do is buy ads for that. And so I will find that, because I know that selling tickets for events is especially problematic.
So definitely keep that in mind when creating posts, that you do want to make sure you're adhering to the guidelines set by those social networks. They really are important to follow, because you don't want your page flagged for going against community guidelines. That definitely brings up a whole host of problems that we want you guys to avoid. Okay, next we have one from Melanie saying, can you make your name a hashtag? And it did not work. So Julie's answer, most social platforms do not allow you to tag individual people through a third-party API. If you publish it anyway, as regular text, it may work when published. Just know that we can't guarantee it through the API relationship. Let's see here. Jeff asks, how did you get the post dialogue? I only get it there from the calendar. So Julie dropped a fantastic support article that you can click on and just double check. If that's not an answer to your question, let us know. We'd be happy to look into that further. So Christina said that she gets a question mark in the box where a page image is supposed to be. Is there a reason? And Julie went ahead and provided a few different answers, including that maybe the page needs to be verified, the page has been unpublished, a country restriction, or an age restriction. All of those are super helpful answers. And if you have ongoing questions, Christina, please feel free to reach out, sendible.com/I-need-help, and our support team can kind of help define that further so that we make sure you get answered. Looks like we have another question, or a few more. We have a question from Drew. Will your reports include data from posts that you did not publish through Sendible? And the answer is yes. That's actually a different, without getting too technical, that's actually a different API call. So we have the sending from us, and then we have the pulling from the social site. So yes, our reporting does reflect both sides. Debbie asked, we are a nonprofit and do not charge for our events. We've never had a problem doing multiple posts. Example, for Community Food Market, posted 1 time a week for 12 weeks. Debbie, I'm so glad you haven't had an issue. We definitely are glad that that hasn't been a problem for you. So it's possible that that's not going to be an issue. Like Julie said, though, it's buying and selling of tickets that can potentially be a problem. So I'm delighted that you haven't dealt with that, and we are rooting for you guys.
And can't guarantee that would continue in the future.
Yeah. Again, that's a Facebook question.
Yeah, and Facebook, we have noticed trends recently where Facebook is really starting to tighten the screws on their community standards and their security and their verification process. So things that have been possible in the past may not be possible in the future. I sound like a financial advisor. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so it looks like we may have had questions here in the chat. Let's see if I'm trying to see if there's anything. Joshua's having Facebook reconnection issues, so definitely submit a support ticket so that we can connect with you and make sure that we help you get that taken care of. So she dropped in the submit a support request to definitely fill that out and let us know. And then thank you for adding that social media holiday calendar. Super valuable.
Yeah, I found it. I was so proud of myself.
I know. I have it saved on my bookmarked because I just love that content. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, if you have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the questions tab here. We are almost wrapping up. Julie, anything that you wanted to share with us today?
I think the things that I wanted to mention wound up being asked as questions.
Nice.
The increased security that we're seeing around Facebook that's coming up. My favorite tip about editing images in the compose box. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, fantastic. It looks like the questions have slowed down. So guys, I'm so glad that you joined us this week. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, no matter which time zone you guys are in, and that you join us again for the next one. So thanks for coming. Julie, thanks so much for your help. I look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.